Hey friend, welcome to my podcast, The Fit Soul. I'm your host, Amy Ramsey. In this podcast, we will be discussing soul-filled strategies to unleash your confidence, increase your energy, and all the things healthy lifestyle. If you're a Christian woman who is ready to reach your God-given potential, walk worthy of your calling with abundant joy and energy, girlfriend, you are in the right spot. I mean, you only have one life to live. You might as well maximize it. Buckle in, and thanks for listening. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Amy Ramsey. I'm so grateful that you are here. And today I have on my certified high performance coaching hat, along with my heart for Jesus. And I want to share with you a habit that will change your life. So it's kind of hard for me to explain what a certified high performance coach is, but it's focusing on the habits that the world's most successful people have. And I recently just wrote I have a new guide out. I'm going to put the link in the show notes here because in this guide, I created a new habits assessment that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about courage and how do you activate courage and how do you exemplify that in your life to help you move forward and to move past your fear and to move past the unknowns. And so this is such a powerful habit to create in your life. And I just wanted to give you this tidbit on it. And this is really interesting. So whether you're, you would consider yourself quote unquote a high performer or not, this could be someone that's just maybe driven or that will take action. But high performers are more likely than others to speak up for themselves and to take more risks and bolder actions. They are intentionally courageous, knowing that their decisions and actions are forming a character that is either weak or strong. Their courage helps them to get ahead because when everyone else quits at the first sign of criticism or difficulty or risk, those with courage keep marching on. So having this courage, developing courage, creating courage in your life can help you get to the next level in all areas and all aspects. I've shared a lot of my story. I've been very vulnerable about how for so long I lived in a constant state of fear. I allowed fears to keep me in a very abusive marriage for way too long, for a long, long time. And then that just crippled my self-esteem, and I did not choose courage. I did not show up authentically as myself. I didn't speak up for myself. I placated. I people pleased. And so when I made the decision, when I started to understand my value, my inherent value, my worth and my identity, and started to have that transformation, when I just got sick and tired of the cycles of my life, and I realized I was worth it. Like I personally was worth fighting for. And the things that I wanted and valued mattered. And I decided to stop being, I always kind of felt like I was this chameleon, and that was a really, really, really good thing. Like, oh yeah, you want to do that? Sure, I'll do this. I didn't really speak up for myself, what I wanted, my values. Sure, I spoke up for those, but I never wanted to push the envelope too far. And then I walked on eggshells in a lot of relationships in my life because I just didn't want any type of backlash. And part of that was being triggered from, and that was an abuse, like a trauma abuse response. And so I did the work and overcame that. And the more I took courageous steps in my life, in my personal life, in my professional life, with my relationships in my life, the more I did that, the more freedom I found. So if any of that sounds like maybe some of where you've been, any part of that, I want to give you some tools today to help you start to move forward and to develop this as a habit. So I think I started to say I created a new guide, and I'm going to put the link for that in this show notes because it has a beautiful, I'm not trying to brag, but I worked really hard on a brand new Fit Soul assessment where I have listed the 6 habits I think you need to have in your life. And I know that if you have these 6 habits in your life you will move and progress forward in a way that honors God first and foremost, and that is bringing you into the fullest version, most vibrant version of how God created you to show up on this earth. So I'm going to put the link for that in the show notes. And in that, there is an assessment. And I want you to go take that assessment. But we talk about courage. Those other Fit Soul habits are energy, courage, productivity, focus, stewardship, and impact. So there's that kind of in a Cliff Notes version. So let me ask you this. I want you to think right now, what does it mean to be courageous? What does it mean to demonstrate courage? What do you think of? I want you to define what is courage in your life. What does courage mean? What does it mean to you? Research indicates that 48% of women over the age of 40 feel societal expectations limit their ability to take courageous steps. I found that incredible and incredulous almost, but I definitely have been that woman and totally understand. And so what does courage mean to you? I want you to think about that. Let's define it first, and then we're going to have a little conversation about this today. All right, so courage is the ability to confront and overcome fear, adversity, or challenges, and it's often in the pursuit of a noble or worthwhile goal. Courage involves facing difficult situations, taking risks, and standing up for your beliefs or your values despite potential obstacles or threats. So courage is not the absence of fear, but it's actually the strength to act in the face of fear. It's demonstrating resilience, determination, and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. Courage can manifest in various forms, from physical bravery to moral and emotional courage, relational courage. And so just thinking about courage, what does it mean to you? Define this. What about relational courage? That was a new term for me recently, but it really spoke volumes to me. In your family, how do you demonstrate courage in your family? With your spouse, with your significant other, with your boss. I want you to think about the relationships in your life and think, are there any people or even situations in your life right now that you feel like you could be stepping up more? Maybe sharing more authentically yourself. And maybe are you not? And what is that costing you? What is it costing you to not speak your truth, who you are, what you think, what you feel? I know for me, it kept me stuck. I love this quote by Brené Brown. And it says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. there's something very powerful about embracing your authenticity, who you are created to be. There's an interesting statistic, a survey that said 85% of people feel more courageous when they live authentically. So think about, what does this mean, and how does integrity align with courage for you to take action in your life? I received a message from a client of mine. She's actually a member in my Walkworthy mentorship. And I literally was crying as I was reading this message. She left her job because it was a toxic environment, and that was a very scary thing for her to do. And she wrote me and said that this new opportunity that she has a new job, and it is something that she felt. Well, let me just read it. I've got her note pulled up here. She said, "I want to tell you about this amazing story, but you play such a role in this, because I would have never had the courage," she used that word, courage, "to walk into this relationship. I looked for so many reasons to walk away. I'm not smart enough, not pretty enough, not educated enough, not worthy." And what she was saying above that is that she walked into it, she used courage, and she got in contact with somebody that she's admired for 13 years. And this person is powerful in the industry that she's in, and it's an incredible opportunity for her. But it was the courage that it took her to move forward in that. And we often think that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not educated enough. I mean, you've had those thoughts, I've had those thoughts. And so we shrink back and we hide. And anything that's causing us to shrink back and hide and to contract is opposite of courage. I love in the Bible, and I have to remind myself, is that God commanded Joshua to be strong and courageous. Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? So courage isn't just, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I feel like that's just not really fair. And I don't feel like that moves us forward. Like, that's not the thing that's I'm scared. Let me do it anyway. Yes, there is an element of that that's true, but the awareness of fear shouldn't stop us. So I want to give you some tips so you can gain more confidence and courage in your life. And it's not just in a time of crisis, but it's also in how we live our lives every single day. So the first step is to be really aware of what you're fearful of. So outside of our fears of our physical health or even dangerous situations, what we most often fear are three things. Okay, the first is we fear loss of pain, that by changing or advancing our lives, we will lose something important to us. Second, we fear process pain, that the mere act or process of changing will be too hard for us. And then third, we fear outcome pain, that if all of this effort that we put into changing may not lead to a better outcome in our life, and that grass may not be greener on the other side. And so just think about a change that maybe you've avoided in your life, or something that you have not moved towards. You can kind of think about a couple of things like, what are you afraid of? If you chased your dreams with more courage, what am I afraid I'm going to lose? If I do this new thing, am I afraid that I'm going to look stupid when I start? I'm not going to look like I have it all together. Or if I try this new thing, I'm not going to have any time left. Or maybe you haven't changed or chased your dreams with courage and commitment because you're afraid of the effort of the outcome might not be good, and you might end up in a worse place and even be more stuck, or maybe something that's happened in the past will happen again, and that's frightening to you. But I have a question here, is that what if you overcame all of your fears and you practice courage? How will your life be different? How will it be different if you showed up authentically as yourself, imperfectly perfect, a messy activator? What would be different in your life? I want you to think about that. You being brave and courageous and just moving forward. What would you do? What would you pursue? Maybe it's what would you say in your relationships with the most important relationships, your family, with your boss, with significant relationships. How would you show up? I know that when I personally realized that my voice mattered, I started showing up to my relationships differently. Instead of holding in, sometimes, in fact, recently I've had a situation happen and I chose courage to address the situation instead of sitting in hurt and sorrow and distancing myself from this particular relationship. And that, for me, took an enormous amount of courage. I was willing to take that risk because that relationship meant something to me, but my emotions meant something to me as well. And I am in pursuit of healthy, balanced relationships. So I had a conversation with this person, and I just shared, when you said this, I need you to know that hurt, and let me tell you why. I wasn't judgmental, and my heart was to just at least share how it was received. And of course, we had some great words around it, and everything is fine. But I wouldn't have done that a couple of years ago. I would have just sat in that and been too afraid to voice my hurt over that. And so the more you start to recognize and realize basically your own worthiness, and that it's okay to show up and to share how you feel with other people, and you should. Of course, there's a better way to do it, and hopefully you're practicing gentleness and humility in those relationships. But I've also done that in other relationships in my life because I was fearful of saying things, of making someone upset or disappointed in me. And those fears kept me from showing up authentically. So I hope this is just maybe highlighting some areas in your own life to where you will express your real thoughts, your feelings, your needs, your ambition to other people. And that takes courage. It takes courage to tell the world what you're about and how you're thinking. But the more you do it consistently, you're going to have a stronger confidence in yourself and actually how you will show up in the world. And so I want you to think through, if you're being really honest, who have you not been communicating your real thoughts, your real feelings, your needs and ambitions? Who are you not doing that with? And what is it costing you? And I really actually want to challenge you right here that I want you to think about a person or a situation that you're dedicated to addressing this situation in the next 5 days. And think about how you will do this and why you will do this. This is really powerful to take that action step and to start to build that confidence. Okay, I'm going to ask you a few more questions that just to assess how are you activating courage as a habit in your life. Do you regularly confront and address the fears that you have in your life? And are you actively taking steps to pursue the dreams and the callings and the desires that God's placed in your heart that align with your purpose? One of the things that so many women that I talk with that are stuck with, they want to pursue a dream, they want to pursue something in their life, and they say, I'm waiting on clarity. And it's not clarity they need, it's courage. It's courage just to take that messy, scrappy action and just to get started. So it's not clarity you need, it is courage. Here's another question. How are you embracing your authenticity by living your life with honesty and integrity and aligning your actions with your values and presenting a genuine version of yourself? How are you doing with that? Are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Kind of think about it like that. On a scale of 1, you're the chameleon, like I talked about. On a 10, you are very confident to present yourself and what you think and what you feel. Okay, here's one more question. I demonstrate resilience by responding quickly and effectively to life's challenges, navigating setbacks, and trusting God for the future. There's 2 big key points there. And kind of think about that question. And I just want to wrap up this podcast with just talking about resilience and also trust. So we're talking about resiliency a lot right now in my Walk-Worthy mentorship. And we're spending the entire month discussing that. It is a skill set. Resiliency is a skill set. And if it's a skill set, you can develop it. So how is your mental resiliency? How well are you able to bounce back and keep a strong mindset, a positive mindset? How about your emotional strength? How is that? How are you able to bounce back and to create the emotions that you want to generate the emotions that you want to have and not let your emotions rule you? We're not supposed to be ruled by our emotions. We have our feelings and our emotions. They're our guides. But when they take us down a path, especially consistently, that there is a better way. And developing that resiliency, emotional resiliency, mental resiliency, is just like exercising and working out. You start to exercise your muscle, like doing a bicep curl. You're lifting a weight and it's really hard. There's that resistance and it's very difficult. But as you do that, you become stronger because you start to break down that muscle and then it heals up and it's stronger. And the same thing in our lives as we practice this habit, this skill of courage will build that resiliency. And this is another interesting thing about resiliency is that it can only be formed during hard times. That's the only time you're going to get to. So it's like when you have obstacles, truly, it is an opportunity to practice courage and to move forward in that. And so I just wanted you to consider that as you will surely have struggles this week and to look at it with that viewpoint that I have an opportunity to practice courage. I have an opportunity to build the skill set of resilience. I promise you, this will change your life. This will move the needle forward in your life. So I would love for you to let me know what you think about this and where you're going to show up with more courage, what relationships you're going to show up with more courage, and how you're going to go about addressing that. I'm cheering you on. I want you to know that I'm cheering you on. And if you want more support and a higher level of support, I do one-on-one work with clients. And I also have a mentorship. It's actually one of my favorite places in the world to hang out right now. And I would be more than happy to have you join us in that. So I'll have the links for the mentorship. It's called Walk Worthy Mentorship in the show notes. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, I will put a link where we can just hop on a quick call and talk about that and see what that looks like. So anyway, I'm cheering you on. Thank you for being here. Also, don't forget, I have a new podcast on Friday, a faith-activated podcast, short one, short and sweet on Friday. Would appreciate if you would do me a huge favor, and that would be to go to wherever you're listening to this podcast and subscribe to it, but also hit the download button. The downloads is where the money's at. So if you would go and be a dear and do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, I'll see you guys on Friday. Girlfriend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm so honored you come back every week and that you share the Fit Soul podcast with your friends and family. Every time you share my podcast on Instagram or Facebook, I do a little happy dance. Make sure you subscribe to the Fit Soul podcast where you'll never miss an episode. You can go to Podcast, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode release. And just know, I truly love bringing you excellent content and great guests to provide you motivation and faith inspiration to help you walk worthy. And one of the ways you can help me is to go and leave the Fit Soul podcast a review. If you have just a moment, would you please go over and leave a review for the Fit Soul podcast? Thank you again. I love you. And here is your reminder. You are worthy. Until next time. Bye-bye.